Thanks for joining us on Sheridan County Ag Update. Today I have with me John Graves from the Sheridan Community Land Trust. Before we get started, I want to say thank you to our sponsors, Heartland Kubota and Truebuilt Builders. Without you guys, we can't put this little shindig on. John, how's it going today?
Great today. Today it's a warm day out there.
It is.
Holy cow.
It is. We have a lot of mud around our house, but I suspect by the weekend it will hopefully have soaked in.
Yeah. We need more moisture. I'm not liking this heat. It's a little too early. I like the cold myself.
You know, I could do with some rain.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, my husband's a winter sports guy. He likes the snowmobiling and all that. I could probably live in Arizona for monsoon season, but yeah. My dad's friend once referred to him as a lizard. I think I kind of took after him on that one. So you guys are always busy, but something exciting that's happening. You are expanding into Johnson County. So let's talk about our neighbors to the south.
We're so excited to expand our services, specifically for conservation easements down into Johnson County. We're going to have a free event open to the public on April 11th, 10:30 at the public library there in Buffalo. Come on out if you want to learn more about conservation easements here in Sheridan County or in Johnson County. You know, at the Land Trust, we really work hard on being perfect at everything we do, becoming experts at it, and then expanding what we're offering. And so though we're kind of a regional land trust, some might say small. I say we're a small, big regional land trust.
Small but mighty.
Yes. You know, we've really become very efficient and also become a regional expert in conservation easements to help landowners in the area. And so we've had a lot of conversations with a lot of entities around the state for the past year talking about our expansion down in Johnson County, if it makes sense, if it's right for us, if it's right for our greater community here. And we just heard a resounding yes. Mm-hmm. We have a great relationship with Wyoming Stock Growers Land Trust, and they work statewide. And they do a great deal of work on very large parcels, large ranches. Mm-hmm. So what kind of has been happening is these smaller ranches, less than 1,000 acres, which is not small by any means, they're kind of left without a resource to help them navigate doing a conservation easement on their land if they choose. Mm-hmm. You know, this is a private land decision for these landowners to make, and we want to help them. And if they want to go down the path of doing a conservation easement, that's where we're going to step in and help them out. There's not a lot of conservation easements down in Johnson County currently, but there's a lot of great land, great habitat, and great ranches that should be protected. As our name implies, you know, we kind of get this question a lot. We're the Sheridan Community Land Trust. But if you think about Johnson County and the Buffalo area, a lot of people live and work in Buffalo or Sheridan and travel back and forth. And so we're just a greater regional community. And so that's why we feel it's a natural fit for us to go down there. Keep working with those great landowners down there. Of course, we're going to keep working here in Sheridan County as well. We have a lot of conservation easement projects we're working on. We're really darn close to closing on a few and protecting several thousand more acres, which we're excited for. But this just gives us an opportunity to protect more land, the iconic scenic views that we all enjoy, keep the habitat going, and ensure that working lands stay working. You know, we got to protect the rancher. We got to protect the way of life we have out here. And this is one option people can choose to do.
Well, and as we both know, they aren't making any more land. Yep. What we've got's what we've got. So you have to take care of it. You have to protect it. And not that change and development isn't good, but it's good for certain areas.
That's right. Yep, that's good for certain areas. Mm-hmm. Conservation easements, they're right for some people. They're not right for other people, and that's fine. Mm-hmm. You know, like I said, it's a private landowner decision, and if that private landowner wants to decide to subdivide their parcel, their land, that's their decision. If they want to do a conservation easement, that's their decision as well. Mm-hmm. We want to be the go-to resource for them to come to us and say like, hey, I want to do a conservation easement, whether it's a bargain sale or a donated easement. We want to be there for them to help them answer questions, walk them through the process, and help them out. These tax benefits, potential financial payments to the landowners for doing conservation easements can really help them out. It can help them with expanding their operation, purchasing more land to expand their operation. That'd be great to see.
Mm-hmm.
Help them with estate planning and passing it on to the next generation. And so there's so many opportunities for landowners to protect their land through a conservation easement. And so if anybody in the area in Johnson County or Sheridan County has questions, just reach on out to us. All of our contact information is on our website, sheridanclt.org. I love answering questions about conservation easements because ultimately it's the landowner decision. And if we can get those questions answered, they know if it's right or not.
Quality Kubota machinery and customer care from the heart. Proudly serving Sheridan and the surrounding areas since 1996. Go online to heartlandkubota.com or stop by Heartland Kubota, 2450 Heartland Drive. Well, and just because they contact you and you sit down with them and go over things and ask questions doesn't mean they have to do it. They're not tied in. This is a question, answer, information, and then you can make your decision after that. It's not you're not tied into, I have to do this just because we met.
That's exactly right. And we don't do sales pitches either. I just want to answer questions. We are not out there to hound anybody, twist anybody's arm. Absolutely not. It's just all about answering the questions. And, I've talked to a lot of landowners over the years, and they might contact me and I might not hear from them for another year as they thought about it. And they decided, yes, this is for me. And they go ahead with it, which is great, but it's up to them. We're just the resource.
Right. Well, and like you said, there's a lot of great land and so many great ranches in that Johnson County area. And Buffalo is such a great area. So is KC.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, have some friends from KC. Spend some time down there. It's a good time down in KC.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Johnson County is huge.
It is.
Very diverse. The northern half is definitely different than the southern half, Great ranches throughout there. West to east, north to south in that county. And so we're really looking forward to get to know that community more, to get to know the landowners, everybody that's down there. And so come on out. We want to talk to you and answer questions. It'll be great.
April 11th at 10:30 at the public library in Buffalo.
That's correct.
All right.
We'll be there.
And another thing you mentioned, there's another virtual fencing event coming up for anybody who's interested in learning about that.
Yeah. We're all about virtual fencing. Gosh, I've been on the podcast a few times talking about virtual fencing, and we keep talking about it because I really feel like it's the wave of the future. The first pilot project we did was with a few landowners that are still doing it for the next 2.5 years. And let's just call them your typical large ranch. They have between 100 and 500 head of cattle that were collared for their ranch. So not small, not an enterprise situation. So far, they're loving it. They're expanding. One of those producers is getting his cattle up on the mountain, which is going to be great to see in those allotments on the mountain. Our second project we worked on with virtual fencing was to help another landowner. They're, again, more one of those larger producers, about 400 to 500 head, with some exciting new things with our partner at Halter. They're also going to be using the Halter virtual fence technology on their grazing allotments up in the Bighorns, as well as on their private land and other leased land down here around Sheridan. So excited for that. That is a big deal to get on this public land with virtual fencing. It's going to be a game changer. We saw the fires go through, destroy so many miles of fence, both on public land and on private land, which is just terrible. But virtual fencing is a way to go to help not have to replace all the cross fencing, which is great to see. We're really excited about that. So this new pilot project we just got grant funding for is to help the small producer.
Okay.
That's what we're really looking forward to, because whatever the virtual fence company is, they kind of have a limit. They don't really work with anyone that's less than 100 head or even less than 50 head. It's just not economical for the company to work with them on, which is a shame. And so we're like, gosh, in this region, even if somebody has 50 head, they easily could have several hundred acres of land. And they're spending a lot of work running temporary wire, fixing interior fence. So it's like, wow, if we can get virtual fencing in the hands of these smaller producers, which we're going to say is less than 50 head, how much time can we save them? How much money can we save them? Even though there's a cost of virtual fencing, how much money can we save them? Will it make them be able to increase their stocking rates so they can actually have more cattle so they can increase their operation? That'd be great to see. And so with this new pilot project, we got our grant funding from the Plank Stewardship Initiative. They're a great funding partner of ours. They're really looking at technology and ways that they can use their grant money to help producers in the area. And one of them is through this virtual fence project.
Okay.
So we'll be covering half the cost of collars for these producers for 3 years.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yep, for 3 years. And so we haven't set the exact number of producers we're going to be working with and the exact number of cattle we're going to be working with. But to be eligible, you have to be a producer in the area with less than 50 head. So more information is going to be coming out on that. We just found out the other day, and it's so exciting because sometimes these grand opportunities aren't available to the small guy. And just because they're small doesn't mean they have an impact on the land. And so we want to take care of them too. They provide meat for this area with their livestock. They provide for their families. And so we want to ensure we're helping them. We're helping them care for the land. We all love the wildlife here, and this virtual fencing is going to do awesome for wildlife.
Making plans for building a new barn, shop, or commercial building? Don't do any planning without a call to Sheridan's premier post-frame building and homes builder, True Built Builders, online at truebuiltbuilders.com. Well, and that's just what I was going to say. The cost of building fence, I don't know if anybody's looked into building a mile of fence lately, but hang on to your shorts on that one. The fact that, one, the financial cost, two, the impact with the wildlife, because they're here too. I mean, granted, I'm pretty soft-hearted. Like, I went and cut a deer out of a fence with whatever kind of big cutters I could find in the shop. My husband's looking at me like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "I can't let Bambi die." I mean, I have no problem with hunting. I mean, I think it is a resource that we need to do to control that. But if you're looking at the cost associated with and the benefits to the wildlife, even to the recreation in the mountains, because you always have those people like, "Oh, God, there's a fence. I got to go all the way around." Well, if you can cut through and stay on your path, and you're not disturbing this person's cattle, that's a win-win for everybody.
Yeah. And what we've seen so far with some of the producers we've worked with is the amount of grazing efficiencies they've already gained. Now, there's the giant question mark about the moisture content right now and how much grass we're going to have growing, but they're already seeing that, wow, I can potentially greatly increase my stocking rate because I'm grazing better. I'm utilizing the grasses that are growing better, whether it's on private land or public land. We're already seeing that. And so that's just going to be great to see play out across all levels of ranching. And stereotypically, a lot of the smaller ranchers, it's kind of what they do on the weekends, right? That's what I do on the weekends. I'm a small producer, and that's what I do on the weekends. Full-time job during the week. So for these smaller producers, if we can save them time, so on the weekend they're not fencing, they're spending it, taking their kids to whatever activity they have going on, spending time just with their family or out recreating or going hunting even. That's another win. We don't get time back. So if we can spend time doing something more meaningful rather than fixing fence, that's a great thing. We'd be really happy to see that.
How does it work on buffalo?
Virtual fencing does not work on buffalo.
Okay, just thought I'd ask.
I'm really curious. I'm very interested to try it out, and I do know there have been some testing of it going on in another state with some other producers, which is cool to see. I think the technology is there. It's whether the buffalo have the, let's say, the brain to handle those inputs. They're very flighty, as we all know, and they're very instinctual. And so when they get mad, they're mad.
Well, and I was just going to say, in the Sheridan and especially Johnson County area, you have a lot of sheep producers still down in that area, and there are some that go up on the mountains. So is there any talk from this halter about making it for making a smaller version for sheep, or is there one?
That's a great and funny question because halter originated in New Zealand.
Oh,
And I mean, how many millions of head of sheep does New
yeah.
Zealand have, right? They also have a lot of cattle. But no, halter only works with dairy and
Okay. And
beef.
beef.
And
Okay.
beef. There is another company out there, No Fence. They work for sheep and goats.
Okay.
And so they're more of a smaller company that's still emerging and developing their hardware and their software. And so I think, especially down that Johnson County region, even into the southern Sheridan region, I think we're going to see virtual fencing becoming more of a thing for goats and sheep. Hasn't quite caught on nationwide like it has with cattle. I would kind of argue that cattle's the easy target to go after first. So, but how many
Sheep are somewhat flighty too.
Yeah, they can be. Yep. So we'll see. Great technology. It's ever advancing, always advancing, and it's great to see. We've had wonderful conversations with the grazing folks at the Forest Service. They are so excited for this technology and what it can do for them up on the mountain here, but also BLM land around the state, even state land. All these agencies are like, wow, this can really be a game changer, really help improve that habitat. And if they improve that habitat, there's more grass to graze. There's more grass to graze that helps the cattle producer, which is great to hear.
And also helps the wildlife.
Does help the wildlife.
On the other side of that.
Yeah, for sure.
When you start bringing in Forest Service, game and fish, everybody has to work together.
They do. And there's a lot of agencies out there. They usually work very well together, but I think they all agree that this new technology is great, but they have to navigate their own policies and procedures. And sometimes we're able to step in and help them out with that. Like with some of the producers, we're helping to get this technology deployed up in the mountain. So we're going to see how it can keep growing.
Awesome. Well, let us know when you kind of get a date. We'll get some more information out. But don't forget, Johnson County producers, you have a lovely afternoon session planned for April 11th at 10:30 at the Johnson County Public Library. Find out more about conservation and probably anything else that you want to ask John. He'll probably
we can talk forever about all the things and go from there.
Yeah. All right. Well, John, thanks for being here as always. Appreciate it. All right. And thank you to our sponsors, Heartland Kubota and Truebill Builders. And for more news, sports, and podcasts, check out SheridanMedia.com.